All right, well, we'll give them just a couple.
We don't have a backup plan if the system isn't working.
Is it coming in?
Move forward with the meeting, it just won't be, audio just won't be recorded.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hey Brenda, can you check real quick with IT and see if they got it? I will. If not, I'll go ahead and start again. Let me just get a response. Well, hopefully the Chambers has audio. Yeah. All right, we'll just get an answer real quick and then we'll go back. I do like your shoes.
Okay.
All right, let's just go ahead. Why I didn't hear why.
Yeah.
Why
so
was it?
I honestly didn't understand they were trying to limit the subject matter of the appeals based on the text of the proposed resolution until we were in committee yesterday, and they explained what they were trying to do, at which point I raised concerns.
Chair was told, he said you can move forward now.
Okay.
Good thing we did.
Yeah, good thing we did.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why, and
Yeah.
it's tracking with the.
It's to track what they explained the intent of the bill was yesterday in committee, which I did not understand based on the prior provided text.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds like a reasonable explanation to me why it has to track with the other bill. Okay. Yep.
No objection.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? 6 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. All right. Let's move on to elections and confirmations. First one up is the Airport Authority reappointment of Mr. William H. Freeman for a term expiring on January 1st, 2031. Yes. Oh, and as a note, Councilmember Cash had this great idea. So we do have parking validations if anyone needs that. We also have quick ticket cards that have $10 on them, and if anyone wants to take public transit back home. So, or to the meetings, or just to go eat. So whichever one you would like. Mr. Freeman, do you want a parking validation? Do you need?
I'm in great shape, thank you.
Okay. All right. So thank you for being here. Please tell us. Oh wait. Do you currently live in Davidson County?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you serve on any other boards and commissions besides the one you're being reappointed to?
No, ma'am.
All right. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in serving again?
Well, this is a reappointment for me to the Airport Authority. I've been on it for a number of years. It's a critical part of our economy, local economy. I'm an active pilot and love the airport. Want to help the airport the way I can. That's why I like to serve on the Airport Authority.
Great. Thank you so much. Any questions from committee members? All right. Can I get a motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? 7 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, up next is the Art Commission appointment of Mr. John P. Neflin for a term expiring on January 1st, 2027. All right, you want to come sit? Would you like a parking validation or a quick ticket?
I would like a parking validation.
All right,
Thank you.
thank thank you so much for
We're gonna
being
have
here.
lottery tickets
I know.
pretty soon. We'll see what happens.
Do you currently live in Davidson County?
I do.
Do you serve on any other Metro boards and commissions? All right, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in serving?
Sure. I've lived in Nashville. Or I moved to Nashville in 1990 to go to Belmont's music program. When I figured out I was not a good music student, I became an attorney. And I've been practicing in Nashville since 1999. My desire to serve on the Arts Commission is, I believe, globally, I think a vibrant arts community is vital for any community, especially Nashville. I think personally, my experience on numerous boards, including president of Safe Haven, currently I'm president of the Friends of the Arts Board at Belmont, and I serve on the store at Belmont also, makes me qualified, very qualified, to serve on the Arts Commission.
Great, thank you so much. Are there any questions from committee members? Councilmember Cash?
Recently, the Arts Commission and Metro Arts have set a goal and set an agenda to improve, like getting grants to smaller artists, smaller artist organizations,
Sure.
and to more minority communities and minority artists. Is that something you share, and how can you contribute to that on the commission?
I think, one, yes, of course I share that. I think it's very important. And I think the value that I would bring to the committee is to make sure that those grants are done in accordance with the bylaws, with any rules and regulations set out, not only by the Arts Commission, but also by Metro Legal and any other oversight authority.
Great. Any other questions from? Yes.
I'm curious about your experience with Friends of the Arts.
Yes.
At Belmont. Could you tell us more sort of about that experience?
Sure.
and how you foresee it relating to your role on this board?
Sure. Well, the Friends of the Arts Board is a fundraising arm of the College of Visual and Performing Arts. When I went there, it's called the Music School, but it's, under Dean Eves and Cynthia Curtis. Of course, it's grown much bigger, but I've had 2 terms on that. In the current term, of course, as I mentioned, I'm president of the board, and our goal is to raise visibility in the community about the incredible talent at Belmont. And one of our active projects right now, which we're discussing today, is to rebrand the President's Concert. After Christmas at Belmont, of course, everybody knows about that. But we're actively working on rebranding the President's Concert, which happens in April, to allow the community to become more aware and more involved and make it more attractive for the Belmont community and the Nashville community to visit the Fisher Center and see this program.
Great. Any other questions? All right. I guess I do have a comment, just knowing everything that has been on the news lately with the board and, like my colleague has said, there had been grants that were promised to minority artists and organizations. I just want to make sure that if you're appointed to this board, that there's going to be that commitment to push for more diversity, to reach out to more minority artists, to find creative ways to get the word out. I think there's always, grants and funding, and it lands on certain people's desks, and there needs to be wider nets cast, even the ones that we currently have, and making sure that the people that we put on this board going forward know what they're walking into and know that there is a set responsibility that goes along with this, because and this isn't the only board, there are a number of boards who are having issues, and we can't continue to have these issues. And like I told my colleagues, coming into the new year, we will be looking at reworking boards and commissions, potentially the makeup of them, the number of people on the boards. But I want to make sure that there's that commitment on your behalf to keep equity and diversity at the forefront.
2-part answer. One, yes, of course. And number two, I think my leadership at Safe Haven, as board president for 3 years, demonstrated that, where there was an active push to diversify the board membership to accurately represent the communities that we were serving. So yes.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that so much. All right, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? All right, 7 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. Thank you so much. All right, up next is the Convention Center Authority reappointment of Mr. Robert Davidson for a term expiring on September 30, 2027. All right, Mr. Davidson, would you like a parking validation or a quick ticket?
Parking validation. I'd rather have the coupon, but I no one would take my car home. Tom. No, thank you.
All right, do you currently live in Davidson County?
I do.
Do you serve on any other Metro boards and commissions besides the one you're being reappointed to?
I do not.
All right, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in serving once again?
I'm Robert Davidson. I'm a 68-year-old retired CPA. I've been a resident of Middle Tennessee my entire life. Grew up in Shelbyville, Tennessee, with our former mayor, John Cooper, and Jim Cooper, his older brother. I was campaign treasurer for Jim, Ned McWhirter, several former office holders in Tennessee. But as a CPA, I represented construction companies around the country, and our firm sold out to a New York firm, Markham, about 6 years ago, and I retired. And I've been serving on the board now for 4 years, and Mayor O'Connell asked me to serve again, and I'm excited about that opportunity.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions from committee members?
I don't have a question, but if I could just say, Mr. Davidson is a constituent of mine, and we've worked on a couple of issues, and smart, good guy.
Oh, thank you, Tom.
Great.
That could go either way. I have an alley behind me, and I ran every now and then about the garbage problems in the alley. But Tom, you're first class. You do respond to my complaints, so thank you.
That's great. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, can I get a motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? 7 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. Thank you
And
so
I
much.
insulted his sweater, and he still voted for me. Well, thank you. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Good luck to you.
Thanks for serving.
All right, next is the Emergency Communications District reappointment of Ms. Ruby Baker for a term expiring on February 14, 2028. Is Ms. Ruby Baker here? Yes. All right. Would you like a parking validation or a quick ticket?
It's okay.
Ticket,
Yeah.
because the bus doesn't come to my area.
Oh, we gotta expand there, right?
Can of worms, can
Transportation
of worms.
Commission, next.
No, I've already brought that up to the WEGO director about
Nice.
the
That's good.
transportation.
Okay.
We have people that need that route, need that access. But anyway,
Yes. So do you currently live in Davidson County?
yes, I do.
Do you serve on any other boards and commissions besides the one you're being reappointed to?
No, ma'am.
All right. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in serving again?
My name is Ruby Baker. I've served in the community for almost 16 years now as president of my neighborhood association. And I was asked to be on the board by our former councilman, Lionel Matthews. So that's how long I've been on the board during his last term. I accepted the nomination, and I enjoy serving because it gave me an opportunity to see the other side of 911. Outside of being on the phone making a call, I was able to see how it actually functioned. And so with that, it just kept growing my knowledge of my learning about 911. And the call takers and the dispatchers, they are really the first responders. They're the voice that you hear when you dial 911. They're not the ones that come to the scene once you make that call, but they are extremely, I can't even find the word to describe the skill that it takes to answer an emergency call. So knowing that, it made me want to make sure that they have everything that they need to service anybody making an emergency call. The latest technology, the mapping, when you call, being able to locate where you are. I want to make sure that those call takers and dispatchers have everything that they need, because it could be you on the other end of that line. It could be a relative. But then also to see the skill level and the training that they go through, because can you just imagine answering a 911 call and it's your babysitter, that your child is in an emergency? You have to keep calm during that call. And that's a skill that you can't just learn that in school. So I want to make sure, number one, that they have everything that they need to service every citizen in Davidson County. And then I also serve within that board. It has a public awareness committee. So when you see these signs and these now dial hub it, they're all related to 911, because when you dial for a flat tire or a tree down or something, in the middle of those calls, it could still be a 911 call. So we have to make sure that the public is aware that this is an emergency. This is not a true emergency, but it is an emergency. So just trying to make sure they understand that difference. And even to the level of making sure the children understand. There's Rescue Rex, which is, you've seen him before. He also explains he also explained 911 to the children. So I like serving on the board. There's several other reasons why, even when it comes to language interpretation, and you got all of these multiple different languages and people trying to dial 911. Everybody is not speaking English, so you have Arabic, you have other languages. And to make sure that call taker, and make sure there's a process to make sure your call is still answered and responded to, and you're not put on hold waiting because someone couldn't understand your language. So it's a lot of things about the 911 board, serving on the board, that I like, and I want to continue to do that. And even when we do annually and acknowledge the 911 operators for the emergencies that they've taken, you would be surprised at some of the things that they've answered that were life-saving measures. And they don't get the recognition that they deserve, but at least as a board member, I can make sure they have the tools that they need to respond in an emergency. So I'll stop there.
Well, we appreciate your willingness to serve and all of that information, because you actually gave me more information than what was on the site. Because I went on there looking for minutes from previous meetings, and I didn't see any, and then I was looking through the bylaws, and then I saw that the meeting's canceled, so so you did give me way more information. I think I do want to stress that it would be important. I don't know if there's a safety factor to it or not, but like knowing what is on the agenda, I think would be important for the public and council members going forward too.
I think they do. Well, I'm not sure, but I'll make sure. I know we do publish an agenda, but I don't know if that's on the website. I know there's some
on the
link.
website. Maybe it's somewhere else.
We'll look at it. We'll make sure, because that's probably why some of the things that's happening, it seems like the ball is dropping on some things. Like we need a new 911 center. That's not just, we're just saying that. If you really take the time to come and see what's happening at our 911 center, you will see we should have done this a long time ago.
Yeah, and this is something that I have heard from SEIU members.
Yes, yes. So just make note of that and make something happen, because they need anything that we can give them. Besides, it could, like I said, it could be your relative on the other end of the line. You know, it could be another disaster like a bombing at Christmas. They still have to answer these calls, but we have to make sure we take care of them.
Yeah.
That's my plug there.
Thank you.
I would love to continue to serve for however many times I can be reappointed. I'm there.
All right. Well, any questions from committee members?
I did have a question, but she answered it already.
Okay.
Really?
Councilmember Lee,
I'd like to move for the reappointment for Ms. Baker.
can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, up next is Emergency Communications District reappointment of Mr. Richard Cowan for a term expiring on February 14, 2028.
He is not here, so I think we're gonna have to move him to the next.
Okay.
He's not gotten here yet.
Deferred. Next is reappointment of Ms. Lorinda Hale for a term expiring on February 14, 2028. Ms. Hale, thank you for being here. Would you like a parking validation or a quick ticket?
My daughter would probably appreciate the parking validation.
Okay. There you go. All right. So, do you currently live in Davidson County?
I do.
Do you serve on any other metro boards and commissions besides the one you're being reappointed to?
I do not.
All right. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in serving once again?
I have been a resident of Nashville for 38 years and lived in the same house for roughly the last 30. 911 board kind of came by. I was appointed when Karen Johnson was on council. Goes back a few years. My family has always been has a history of being first responders. My dad started several volunteer fire departments, and my brothers and sister all now serve on one down in West Tennessee. In Nashville, I got into the 911 board in part quite by accident, but discovered when I got into it how much really isn't known in Nashville about what we do and what happens. While I had been on the board, my professional reputation is in human resources. One of the things that was happening on the board at the 911 center when I came on is we had an extremely high vacancy rate, which led to very long hold times for folks calling into 911. And quite frankly, the worst thing you want to have is being on hold for 2 minutes waiting for somebody when you have a family member having a heart attack or a child drowning or a house on fire or whatever it is. Thankfully now, in part because we have hired a massive number of people, training for our dispatchers literally takes 1 full year from the time that they come on board before they are fully trained in our systems. What is wonderful about that is our call rate is now down to, you call, the calls are answered, 93% are answered within 15 seconds, which is absolutely amazing and puts us on top of the industry heap as far as that goes. One of the things that has come on board since I came on the board is we now also have text to 911, which for those who are involved in domestic battery situation, domestic violence situation, they can text for help. Whoever their abuser is doesn't need to know what's happening. And that's one thing that's absolutely wonderful. No, we have not put it out on great big billboards, but we have made all of the domestic violence shelters and providers aware of that. Simply because if you make it known, it also increases the misuse of it, which one of the things we also do is in our schools to educate our younger folks. We have Rescue Rex, some of you may remember that. He's been around for about 25 years and has recently received a makeover and a lineup of education as to how he talks to the folks. One of the things that's now included is most of you have cell phones. Your cell phone's locked automatically. If your child picked up your cell phone because you were having a heart attack, would they be able to dial 911? Most of us don't think about it, but they can. There's an emergency button on your cell phone. Rescue Rex teaches our kids about that emergency button so that they can. And we teach in multiple languages. As Ruby talked about, we have the Annie Alley service. Our operators speak 75 languages as a result of Annie Alley. If you call in, we can speak to you in your language, which is absolutely essential, considering Nashville now has over 75 languages spoken in our city, and you never know what's calling on the other line. And those are changes that have been made since I've come on the board that I think are absolutely essential. Do we have more to come? Yes. Do we have more work to do? Definitely. But we are moving in the right direction, and I'm very happy to support the work that we do. I am very proud of our dispatchers, and like Ruby and our board, we're pushing for them to be noticed as first responders because they are. They are that calm voice in the chaos, and they are the one who delivered the baby over the telephone and told you how to do 911 or how to do CPR on your child that you just pulled out of the pool. Those are real stories that happen every year, every month out of our dispatch center. If you haven't been to it, you need to come take a look and see what happens every day. And then imagine that out on Nashville snow days or on the follow-up of a tornado. Because when those things happen, our center lights up like a Christmas tree. And you want the people there doing their best with the best of the equipment we can provide them with.
Well, thank you so much for your willingness to continue to serve and for your long history of you and your family serving in this capacity. We really appreciate that. Are there any questions from committee members? Councilmember?
I don't have a question, but I would just like to say I'd like to speak in support of Ms. Hale. I know her as a community worker and how she communicates and tries to make sure that people in the community know what's going on and that type of work. And she's a hard worker, so I would support her and hope that you all will too.
Yeah, and I'll say this last thing. I do really appreciate the willingness and, you know, the sense of urgency and the knowledge that it's important to have all of this in different languages, which we know that's essential, but especially the trainings that you all do within the community. I wish a couple of other metro departments had that sense of urgency as well and proactivity. So with that, can I get a motion? Move approval.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any not voting? 7 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next is Emergency Communications District reappointment of Ms. Lorinda Hale.
That was her.
That wasn't me.
Ms. Hale.
Who did I miss?
This guy wasn't here.
I'm like something. Thank you. All right.
You wanna do it again?
Yes.
I'm willing to.
Next is Greenways and Open Space Commission reappointment of Mr. Grant Windrow for a term expiring on February 10, 2027. Mr. Windrow, thank you for being here. You didn't fill out your questionnaire.
I did not. I'm sorry. It just went to junk mail. I didn't ever receive the email. I apologize for it.
So,
At Greenways of Nashville, why would it go to junk?
okay. Do you want a parking validation or a quick ticket?
Whatever's convenient. I just got my validation.
Validation?
Yeah, validation is fine. Thank you.
All right. Oh, sorry.
No questionnaire, do we have to defer it?
That's what I'm gonna ask. Director Darby? Do we need to defer since there's no questionnaire?
I believe so. Let me pull that real quick. Yeah, you should defer for the next meeting.
All right.
Meeting deferral.
23.1 requires the questionnaire to be completed.
All right. I got a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any not voting? All right. You will be deferred a meeting. You will need to come back in the new year.
You got the
January
questionnaire
16th.
We make sure that somebody.
6 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. All right. Next is the Human Relations Commission reappointment of Mr. Jeff Teague for a term expiring on August 4th, 2025. Appointment.
Yes.
Did I say reappointment?
Yes.
Ah.
I need a validation.
All right. All right. Do you currently live in Davidson County?
I do.
Do you serve on any other metro boards and commissions?
I do not.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in serving.
Sure. So I'm a native Tennessean. I've lived in Nashville for 23 years after living in Washington, D.C. For about 15 years. Public service has always been at the center of my life. At the work that I do, I had the honor of working for Vice President Al Gore in the White House during the Clinton administration, and then later as in the communications department at the U.S. Agency for International Development. Since I've moved back here, my work has been all basically nonprofit work. I did have the honor of working for Congressman Jim Cooper for a number of years during the pandemic, where we were serving a lot of people who were in very desperate situations. I feel very deeply and passionately that people should be able to have access to healthcare, education, housing, food stability, regardless of their situation. And I think that's demonstrated in the work that I've done, not only in my professional work, but in the private work for the boards that I've served on. I was really happy when you all passed the resolution to honor the Mary Parish Center for its 20th anniversary. I was on that board and served as the board chair there. I'm currently on the board of the Matthew Walker Comprehensive Health Center that serves North Nashville, served as the board chair there, and currently am working as a nonprofit consultant. My main client is Mending Hearts, which is in the Nations, and is a residential treatment facility for women recovering from drug addiction. So I'm very committed and passionate about making sure that people have access to basic services, the basic needs that they need, regardless of their situation, regardless of their age, race, gender orientation, sexual orientation, gender identity, homeless, whatever. I am deeply committed to making sure that people have access to those services.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your commitment to the community as a whole. Any questions from committee members? Yes.
Just a technical one, I think. It's on this survey, on this questionnaire, to the question, are you an elected official? It says you answered yes.
Oh, that is a mistake.
No.
I am not an elected official.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. All right. Thank you so much. All right, next is Dan Hogan, and I don't believe there's a questionnaire for that as well.
He's traveling.
He's what?
He's traveling, he's not here.
Okay, so,
And I'll follow up with him about
okay, can I get a motion for one meeting?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. All right, let me do a quick cleanup before we move on. For Richard Cowan, since he's not present, can I get a motion for a one meeting deferral?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? All right, 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. All right, last is Nashville Music, Film, and Entertainment Commission. Appointment of Mr. Jeff Syracuse for a term expiring on June 20, 2025. Former council member Syracuse, would you like a parking validation or a quick ticket?
Why don't you have your own?
Yeah.
You lost your perk.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right, do you currently live in Davidson County?
I do.
Do you serve on any other metro boards and commissions?
I do not.
All right, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in serving?
Sure. For the past 25 years, I've worked over at BMI, over on Music Row. For most of those 25 years, I've led the radio and television licensing team, which pulls in roughly about $200 million for the company every year. And the vast majority of that, of course, goes back to our songwriters, composers, and publishers as royalties. I've had the opportunity, wearing both hats of community service, being an elected official, plus my experience over on Music Row, to do everything from creating a $5 parking program for downtown musicians to going to China twice to advocate for intellectual property rights for creatives. I have Mayor Barry put me on the advisory council for Music Makes Us. Everything, of course, starts with education. We have to not just be Music City, but we have to be Music Education City. And so, in being one of the co-authors of this commission, it was a really great opportunity to learn from the attempts in the past to put a sustainable private-public partnership together to support our music, film, and television industries. There's a lot of cities in this nation and really across this globe who are putting a lot of resources into local policy-making effort for their creative economies. And Nashville's strength has just been really that we haven't had to do that. But it's time. It's definitely time, as we've seen some cracks in our foundation as Music City. whether it's affordable housing for creatives, healthcare issues for creatives, and small business support, like our local independent music venues. I'm very excited about the opportunity to serve on this commission and support our working creatives and help give a healthy, balanced, and equitable ecosystem for those industries.
Great, thank you so much. Are there any questions from committee members? All right. Yep. Yes.
Well, actually, so well, first and foremost, thank you for your willingness to serve. You mentioned your work with BMI. Could you talk a little bit more about your experience with working with BMI?
Sure. So I started out in the mailroom at BMI while I was finishing up my music degree at MTSU. 1 month later, after I got my first job at BMI, this thing called Napster came onto the scene. And as we all know, over the past 20 years, 25 years now, we've gone through this digital revolution of our industry. And BMI, ASCAP, and CSAC, the three major performing rights organizations, have been the bedrock for this industry. When we say that this industry has about a $3 billion economic impact to this region, it starts, as NSAI says, it all starts with a song. And that song is someone's property, and that generates the economic impact for the city, publishing and recording and whatnot. And so my job at BMI is to pull in dollars from radio and television stations. And then that translates back to, because we only operate about 85 cents of the dollar, that goes right back to our composers, songwriters, composers, and publishers. My little toehold over on the creative side directly has been that an 11-year stint being on the board of the Blues Foundation. If you go to bmi.com/blues, you get my name there. So I help represent those artists, the blues and R&B artists, especially during this digital revolution where most of their money comes from being on the road 200 days a year or whatnot. So helping to make sure that they get paid has been something I've been very passionate about.
Anything else? All right, any other committee members?
Just a quick comment. I sat behind Jeff Syracuse. His hair grayed a little bit more since I sat behind. I'm just kidding.
You're not kidding.
He was always nice to me, and I should be nice to him. But probably one of the better council people that was meaningful, thoughtful, in almost every conversation, everything he did. A strong leader. Had a lot of respect, and I think he gained a lot of respect from the council. So from my position, I see as both strong from a leadership perspective and an industry perspective, which is pretty unique in this position. So you get my support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Councilmember Cash.
Thanks. Thanks for your willingness to serve. I think you can offer, as this commission kind of is getting off the ground, it's fairly new, as you know, and I think you can offer some help knowing Metro government pretty well. My question is, diversity is important, and not just demographic diversity, but it's the commission is to represent different aspects of the entertainment industry, and so I guess how can you make sure not just the commission's makeup, but the benefits to the industry are diverse or recognize that importance to diversity?
Absolutely, and that's one of the three major pillars of the commission that was put in place, was the Music City Music Council, Film and TV Advisory Board, and then the diversity piece. As we all know, Nashville, being country music, was all basically male, white dominated. We do see that changing, but I think one of the exciting things that this commission has an opportunity to do is take policy making and begin to embed that in our normal, regular planning efforts. As our communities continue to grow, diversify, we need to make sure that those communities and their cultures or whatnot are supported with music, film, and entertainment, and they have those opportunities. So as communities grow, as you have zoning bills or whatnot, it would be nice to have policy-making effort that actually supports that as we grow. It's not arts a lot of times is an afterthought, and it shouldn't be. It should be embedded in our regular planning efforts. So I hope that this commission has that opportunity to effectuate that.
All right. Any other committee members? Yes, Councilmember Lee.
I have a question. I fully support you, and all of your expertise sounds like you would be good on this. But I just have one question. I'm going back to something you referred to earlier. You referred to Nashville as the Music City. How did we get that title? Why are we called the Music City?
Well, that goes way back when the Fisk Jubilee Singers were out.
Okay,
right?
you got my support. Go ahead. Go ahead. Because I think it is important that people know. I think it's important that people know that because people don't know that when you ask them.
Absolutely.
And so part of that whole commission and everything is making sure that you know some of the history. So, yeah, you passed my test. Okay.
All right, any other committee member?
Move approval.
All right,
Second.
Councilmember Stiles.
Thank you. You already.
Hit my mic for a second. So, while I appreciate former Councilmember Syracuse coming and wanting to serve, there are a lot of false narratives here. And recently, just a couple of hours ago, you received an email from the chair of this current commission. We just created and just appointed the commissioners in August. And if you don't mind, I'd like to read it if you haven't had a chance to see it, which says, as chair of the Nashville Music, Film, and Entertainment Commission, I did not want to make a public statement about the nomination of Jeff Syracuse to be on this commission, but I have already spoken to a number of you already about this in the last 2 days, including Mayor O'Connell and Brian Sexton. So I figured I might as well blast it out to all of you. I would urge you to vote no on Jeff Syracuse for this commission based on objective measures regarding the makeup of the commission as it stands and based on my subjective experiences with him over the past 2 years. We already have one employee of BMI on the commission. That would be Shannon Sanders. We do not need 2 employees from the same company on a commission which is supposed to represent the entirety of music, film, and entertainment communities. We do need more music individuals, but we need actual working musicians and songwriters. We have no one from music management or a label either. We are also already majority white and majority male, even if the remainder of the empty positions were to be filled by women and people of color. Adding him to the commission will make us even more uneven. This is not representative of our city. My direct experience with former Councilmember Syracuse over the past couple of years has been unfortunate, and based on this, I would not be able to trust him at his word or do what is best for the commission. That is also why I did not vote for him in the at-large council. I am happy to expound upon this if you wish to call me. That said, I still trust, support, and love our new mayor and understand why he was nominated for this. I know Jeff has a lot of institutional knowledge when it comes to Metro Council and government, but these attributes do not outweigh the negatives to me. I again urge you to vote against this appointment here. However, if he is confirmed tonight, I hope I am wrong and that we are all able to work together for the greater good of our music, film, and entertainment communities. I would encourage you to reach out to other members of the commission and get their opinions. I am not 100%, but I believe that many feel the same way. As the, I'm not even going to say co-author of this commission because I spent a better year fighting Mr. Syracuse. So please, I would appreciate it if you took into consideration, we have spent a lot of time saying that we have not appointed the right people to boards and commissions, and it has come back to bite us. If we are hearing from the chair of this current commission and any other commissioners that may have reached out to you, we are injecting potential drama into a commission and not fair.
Councilmember Lee.
I am confused about where we are right now and where we're supposed to move on and what we're supposed to be doing because we had a motion. You had a motion and a second.
Yeah,
Let me just renew my motion and we'll move on.
Yeah.
But we had a motion and a second.
I understand, but let's just
There was
move
a
on.
hand that was up before the motion went on, and I thought there was a mind that was changed, but that was the case. I went to the committee to continue. All right. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Congratulations.
All right, quickly before we end, when we come back from holidays and I'm gonna call a special call meeting, and I spoke to this, we're gonna be talking about the questionnaire. We're gonna be talking about the makeups of boards and commissions. Some of them are entirely too big, in my opinion, that they haven't been working properly. Is there anything else that this committee would like to consider for our discussion?
Are there any, sorry.
Yes.
Are there any commissions that don't meet often enough that could be merged together possibly or done away with completely? I think we've got so many boards and commissions, and I know that some of them will just never even meet. So
we could definitely talk about
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would ask, could we maybe get some kind of feedback mechanism questionnaire from the boards and commissions to get their perspective?
Yes.
Because they probably already agree on certain things, and just like you guys are an amazing piece of what you're doing, right? I mean, you're hands-on. It'd be great to get your feedback of not only what you guys are recommending, but how do we help, right? Because just because we appointed you, I wish there was something we could do more of in getting how we do better.
Great, thank you.
Was that
Councilmember
open
Evans?
for a comment, or you?
No, that was just looking at you as a thank you, and you guys made great comments to give that to us.
Okay.
I'd like to see where there may be opportunity to kind of make a stronger connection between the board or the commission and the council committee.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a formal thing that we need to consider, or if committee chairs have opportunity to help make that connection.
Yes.
That's a good idea.
All right, anything else that we need to consider?
Not that, but I have a question, because I didn't hear the whole thing that you said at first. Are you planning on having this special call meeting before our next council meeting?
So we only have one council meeting, so we'll talk to Director Darby, figure out what works best for the staff and for the committee as a whole. I am also asking the Human Relations Commission to come and present before us, so I need to take into account their schedule as well.
Okay, so
But it'll be in January, yes. Late
will it be
January.
after the first week of January?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I need to
Yes.
know. Okay.
Yes. All right, anything else from committee members? All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, thank you very much.